This chapter does not exist, sadly. Let's proceed to the next chapter. This chapter does not exist, sadly. Let's proceed to the next chapter. This chapter does not exist, sadly. Let's proceed to the next chapter. This chapter does not exist, sadly. Let's proceed to the next chapter. This chapter does not exist, sadly. Let's proceed to the next chapter. Vol 2, Chapter 1490, Order Number 66. Execute Order 67. Upon hearing Palpatine's words, Anakin Skywalker's expression shifted dramatically. Initially, he hadn't made the connection, but under Palpatine's subtle manipulation, a new possibility dawned on him. This could be a way to absolve the Jedi Order of any blame. If this were true, it suggested premeditation on the part of the Jedi. Palpatine, seizing the moment to deepen Anakin's doubts, added, "Then, just a few days after the clone army's creation was authorized, Master Sifo Dyas was dispatched to Felucia for a mission. His starfighter was shot down, and he was killed instantly. And who, may I ask, would have the audacity to down a Jedi Master's fighter?" Silenced, Anakin's face turned ashen. The intricacies of the Jedi Order's plans are beyond even my understanding at this point. That's precisely why I've requested access to the Jedi archives. Palpatine continued, his voice laced with a feigned regret. "I'm truly sorry. The implications of this matter are so vast that I feared bringing it to light. You must understand, Anakin, my apprehension." "Apprehension? But you're the Chancellor of the Galactic Republic," Anakin countered. "Do you realize, had I brought this evidence against the Jedi at the onset of the war, I doubt I'd have lived to see another 3 days. The Jedi would have executed me without a second thought, under the pretext of combating a Sith Lord. Then they'd assume control of the war. The mere thought of what might ensue terrifies me." Palpatine's voice dwindled to a tremble. After a brief pause, he swallowed hard, gathered his courage, and spoke with renewed volume. "But now, with the support of insightful allies within the Republic, with your support, I've managed to survive and continue guiding the Republic in the right direction. For not revealing the truth sooner, I am deeply sorry." I don't know what to do," Anakin stammered, taking a few steps back, his mind a whirlwind of confusion. "This galaxy is on the brink of peril, Anakin," Palpatine intoned ominously. "The Geth are slaughtering billions in the Republic's northern border. The Separatists control half the galaxy, and Count Dooku's power rivals that of the Galactic Republic itself. His ally, the Angel of Death, schemes in the shadows. As I've mentioned before, the Angel of Death has seized Korriban, gaining the allegiance of the Sith Emperor's forces. Do you understand the significance of Korriban? It's the final resting place of Sith Empire kings and countless Sith lords, warriors who've opposed the Galactic Republic for millennia. Their hatred for the Republic is deep-seated and indelible. With Korriban under his control, the Angel of Death will undoubtedly seek to fulfill their legacy, to annihilate the Galactic Republic. The Angel of Death is the Republic's most formidable adversary. Yet why do the Jedi not pursue this imminent threat, instead focusing their efforts on me? Is it because I serve as the Chancellor? Because I stand in someone's way? Palpatine's voice, now a sinister whisper, compelled one to follow his line of thought. Anakin bowed his head, at a loss for words, uncertain of his next steps, feeling directionless. "It's time for you to make a decision, Anakin, just as I must make mine," Palpatine declared, rising to place 2 communicators before Anakin, one black, one white. "What are these?" Anakin inquired, puzzled by Palpatine's actions. "In the face of such a crisis, we must emerge victorious in this war. To achieve victory, we must unite the strength of the entire Galactic Republic. If we persist in this internal conflict, our only fate is destruction, as foreseen in my visions. Thus, we must bring an end to this strife, with the triumph of one side. Let us stake everything, including our lives, to ensure the survival and prosperity of the Galactic Republic." "Believe that the victor can bring Victic Republic," declared Palpatine. "End the feud? Leave a victor? Anakin hesitated. "Yes, choose," Palpatine urged. Ed, sliding 2 communicators across the table towards Anakin. "What the?" Anakin's face contorted with fear and confusion. "Order 65 and Order 66, Palpatine explained, pointing to the communicators. "The black one is Order 66, which is to confirm the treason of the Jedi Knights and arrest them. The white one, Order 65, is to confirm the treason of the Speaker of the Republic and then arrest him. Anakin's expression shifted dramatically upon hearing this. The fate of the entire Galactic Republic could be influenced by the choice he was about to make. It was a stark reminder of how sometimes the control over vast and critical matters could rest on seemingly simple, even absurd decisions. It was akin to how, for a long period, the nuclear launch codes of a certain country were set to 8 zeros. The brink of catastrophe was closer than most realized. "Shouldn't we wait for the Council to discuss and decide?" Anakin suggested, hoping for a more democratic approach. "If we wait for the Council to reach a decision, the Jedi Order will undoubtedly be alerted. They have many spies within the Council, including some you are well acquainted with," Palpatine countered. "Fortunately, I possess the power of emergency ruling. On matters concerning the life and death of the Galactic Republic, I can bypass the Parliament and issue direct orders. This efficiency is something I've always strived for." He tapped the white communicator lightly. "As for Order 65, once you make a judgment, I will be at your mercy, and you can execute this order at any time. It is both reasonable and legal." "Why? Why leave such a decision to me?" Anakin Skywalker, overwhelmed by the gravity of the situation, stood up and exclaimed, "This is your mission, Chosen One." Palpatine's voice took on a sinister twist. "P.S. It appears there was a mistake in a previous chapter regarding the orders. It should have been Order 65, not Order 67, that pertains to arresting the Speaker. Order 67 is a spoof order from LEGO Star Wars, which makes the clones dance. Vol. 2, Chapter 1491. Execute Order 66. No, I'm not the Chosen One. Why are you doing this to me?" Anakin Skywalker cried out, retreating step by step. "The Galactic Republic is at a pivotal moment. The Jedi Knights have become relics of the past, obstacles hindering our progress. Their existence is threatening our victory in this war. Look at the actions of the Jedi Order. Even you, Anakin, after joining the Jedi Order over a decade ago, how were you treated?" Palpatine's voice grew louder with each word. "But the Jedi Order." Anakin shook his head in denial. "Do you really believe the Jedi Order is as you imagined? They formed an army and are directly responsible for the war's outbreak. They've been involved in countless massacres. Consider the 14 orbital bombings in the past 3 months alone. Weren't all of those authorized by the Jedi Order?" Palpatine pressed on, his tone aggressive. "Now, Master Windu leads my second galaxy army. If I ordered him to return, would he comply?" "No, he's too self-absorbed," Palpatine continued, leaving Anakin speechless. "Do you think I'm in a favorable position, Anakin?" "I'm cornered." Palpatine's expression darkened. "Master Yoda is openly seeking to assassinate me. As the Speaker of the Galactic Republic, I'm targeted by the Jedi Order, yet I cannot reveal this to the public. If I were to die, what would become of the war? Of the Galactic Republic? I live each day on the edge of death, Anakin. Such things shouldn't happen." Anakin was visibly distressed. "Do you know why I've given you the choice, Anakin?" Palpatine presented 2 communicators again. "It's not because of the prophecy of the Chosen One. That's just a burden the Jedi Order placed on you. It's because I trust you, Anakin. If there's anyone in the Jedi Order who still possesses a sense of justice, it's you." He approached Anakin, turned his back to him, and spread his arms. "Make a decision, Anakin. Who is at fault here, me or the Jedi Order? As the Speaker of the Republic, I grant you this authority." Palpatine said this, but secretly, he was ready to use his dark powers. He knew the choice he presented to Anakin was a facade. Due to Directive Number 65, he couldn't grant such authority without the joint approval of the Parliament and the Supreme Court. However, Order 66 was different. Crafted in a way that bypassed the need for parliamentary approval, he could initiate it himself. He was also prepared for the possibility of Anakin choosing Order 65, in which case he would eliminate him. A non-compliant Chosen One was of no value to him. Why can't we wait for the Council to decide? Anakin, eyes closed, was overwhelmed with sorrow. "I've told you, Anakin, if we wait for the Council's decision, I won't survive the night. The Jedi Order will stop at nothing to kill me. I doubt I can withstand the full force of the Jedi Order," Palpatine argued. "You already have the authority. Make a judgment. Should I, the Speaker of the Republic, be arrested, or should it be the Jedi Order? Why do you force me into this decision?" Anakin still hesitated. "Because, In the transformed Galactic Republic, you play a crucial role. You must participate, whether you choose me or the Jedi Order. You are meant to be the one who drives progress. This is your duty as the Chosen One, Palpatine declared. Holding the two communicators, Anakin's hands trembled, his face pale, his body shaking. Yet, as the minutes passed, his resolve steadied, signaling the monumental decision he was about to make. Anakin Skywalker's expression hardened, and his gaze sharpened with determination. He was a warrior forged in the crucible of battle. Closing his eyes, he let the recent events play through his mind like a rapid slideshow, reliving the myriad experiences that had shaped him. He remembered the skepticism and cold stares he received upon joining the Jedi Order, the forbidden love with Padme Amidala, the Jedi creed that sought to sever his ties with his mother, and the injustice faced by Ahsoka Tano. War, death, victory, and defeat had been constant companions. He had suffered great losses: his mentor Qui-Gon Jinn, his master Obi-Wan Kenobi, his apprentice Ahsoka Tano, his best friend Jax Pawan, Elder Master Yoda, and Senior Sastin. And then there was Padme, her beautiful face haunting him, alongside the kind visage of his mother, who had been turned into a pawn of death by a merciless foe. Why? Why have I lost everything? Anakin agonized. The war had stripped everything away, altering the very fabric of his existence. He couldn't help but blame the Jedi Order for their role in the conflict, recalling their authorization of the clone army and Master Shakti's supervision of its creation on Kamino. Whether directly or indirectly, the Galactic Republic, the war, and the Jedi Order were all due for change. Darth Sidious's voice, seductive and dark, whispered promises of power and understanding. The Jedi Order has only ever seen you as a threat, Anakin Skywalker. But I see your true potential. You crave power, and rightfully so. The Jedi will never reveal the full extent of the Force to you. Their archives hold secrets to saving your mother, secrets they've kept from you to use you as a mere tool. If you wish to protect everything dear to you, you must possess unparalleled power. Embrace change, embrace the dark side, and the power to save your mother will be yours. Anakin's resolve hardened, and with a cold, determined voice, he issued the command, "Execute Order 66. The order echoed, marking a point of no return. Darth Sidious's laughter filled the air, a sound of triumph and malice. "You've made the right choice, Anakin Skywalker," he exclaimed, reveling in the dark side's power that now flowed unchecked. Anakin, however, remained focused, indifferent to Sidious's display of dark power. "The Jedi Order will fall today," Sidious proclaimed, activating a holographic projection that displayed countless scenes of chaos unfolding. Meanwhile, on the planet Kashyyyk, the Galactic Republic's forces, allied with the Wookiee army, engaged in fierce combat against the droid armies of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. In the headquarters, clone commanders, regular army officers, and Wookiee leaders were devising a battle strategy with a Jedi Master, unaware of the impending betrayal. The troops were all Sparti clones. Although the Galactic Republic had only recently passed the proposal to deploy Sparti clone soldiers on a large scale, these clones had been in preparation for quite some time. As a result, they quickly made their presence known across the major battlefields of the Milky Way, joining the fray without delay. Amidst the chaos, a communication signal interrupted the ongoing operations. The clone commander activated the communicator, revealing Anakin Skywalker's grim expression and icy voice on the screen. "Execute Order 66. Order 66? What is that?" An officer nearby turned to inquire, his curiosity piqued. However, before he could get an answer, a clone soldier opened fire without a moment's hesitation. The Jedi Master, caught completely off guard, was struck in the back. Despite the sudden betrayal, he managed to draw his lightsaber in an attempt to defend himself, but it was too late. The clone troopers surrounding him unleashed a barrage of blaster fire. The Jedi Master was overwhelmed by the onslaught. "That's the order," the clone commander stated coldly. The scene silenced the officers and soldiers who witnessed it, rendering them speechless. Meanwhile, the Wookiees, having observed the treachery, let out a roar of defiance. They immediately resolved to sever their ties with the Republic Army, refusing to be complicit in such acts. On the planet Felucia, amidst its vast jungles and swamps, the Galactic Republic's forces were engaged in a landing operation. Master Opal Lenzesis, a member of the Jedi Council, led the charge against a separatist droid stronghold. With lightsaber in hand, Master Lenzesis deflected blaster bolts from all directions, making his way towards the heart of the enemy's firepower. However, unbeknownst to him, a clone commander nearby received the same grim directive from Anakin Skywalker: execute Order 66. With a mere gesture, the commander ordered the ATTE walkers to target Master Lenzesis. The heavy artillery turned and unleashed a devastating barrage upon him. The revered Jedi Master was engulfed in explosions, unable to withstand the sudden and brutal attack. In the outer space near the planet Salukami, a fierce battle unfolded. Dozens of Jaeger-class battlecruisers and 5 Knight-class Star Destroyers engaged the main fleet of the Confederacy of Independent Systems, led by General Grievous. Grievous, preoccupied and unwilling to face the Republic fleet head-on, commanded his forces in a strategic retreat. Amidst the chaos, Master Kit Fisto of the Jedi Council led an elite squadron of clone fighters, piloting the newly introduced V-Wing fighters. Their superior performance gave them an edge over the Confederacy's Tri-Fighter droids. However, the tide turned abruptly when Anakin Skywalker's command, execute Order 66, was broadcasted across the V-Wing fighters' communication screens. Without hesitation, the clone pilots turned on Master Fisto, unleashing a volley of laser beams and missiles. The surrounding battleships joined in, directing all their firepower at the Jedi Master. The dense barrage of fire enveloped him, making evasion impossible. Despite his best efforts to maneuver the ETA-2 fighter jet through the onslaught, Master Fisto was ultimately overwhelmed by the combined firepower, resulting in a catastrophic explosion that marked his fiery demise. On the bridge of one of the Knight-class Star Destroyers, the clone commander holstered his blaster pistol, which had been aimed at the captain's head moments earlier. The weapons were put away as the commander solemnly declared, "The order has been executed. Well done." The clone troopers, having carried out the grim directive, stood ready for their next command, marking a dark turn in the galaxy's history. The air was tense as the clone soldiers, following their orders, returned to their designated posts with a cold efficiency that left no room for doubt or delay. Among those leading the defense against the separatist onslaught was Jedi Council Master Stas Ali. She was at the forefront of the operation to repel the raiders from the direction of the planet Quill. However, recent days had brought a disconcerting silence from Coruscant and the Jedi Order, coinciding with the spread of unsettling rumors that left Stas Ali feeling increasingly uneasy. Despite the challenges, Stas Ali had successfully led her forces to repel yet another wave of separatist battle droids. However, she found herself at odds with the army commander's suggestion to capitalize on their victory by pursuing the retreating enemy. Instead, she advocated for a more cautious approach, choosing to consolidate their defenses rather than thinning their ranks with an aggressive chase. On a particularly tense day, while stationed in the command center, Stas Ali's attention was abruptly captured by the sight of a group of clone troopers advancing towards her position with an aggressive demeanor that was uncharacteristic of their usual disciplined approach. This unexpected development signaled the beginning of a critical and unforeseen turn of events. For readers eager to delve deeper into this gripping narrative, the latest chapters of Star Wars: The Fourth Scourge are available for immediate access. To enjoy uninterrupted and up-to-date content, please consider downloading the Haoyoi Novels app. This platform offers the fastest updates to the saga, including Chapter 491, titled Execute Order 66. Dive into the unfolding drama and explore the richly imagined world of this story, all available at your fingertips for a seamless reading experience. Vol. 2, Chapter 1492, The End of the Jedi Order, Part 1. Stas Ali sensed something was amiss the moment she saw the group of clone soldiers. The Force alerted her to a palpable killing intent emanating from them. What could have possibly gone wrong? She pondered, her brow furrowed in concern. These clone soldiers had recently been dispatched to reinforce the Republic Army's ranks. While their combat prowess was notably superior to that of regular soldiers, they seemed somewhat less capable than the Camino clone troopers she was accustomed to. More troubling, however, was their apparent psychological instability. Shortly after their arrival, there had been several altercations between the clone soldiers and the regular troops. Despite these issues, the inclusion of the clone soldiers had bolstered the Republic's ability to stand against the droid army. But now, Stas Ali couldn't help but wonder, what were these clone troopers planning? With a sense of foreboding, Stas Ali rose from her seat in the command center, her lightsaber gripped firmly in her hand, ready for any threat. As the clone soldiers approached, she called out to them. "What are you doing here? Soldiers! It's rest time now. You shouldn't be moving around without orders." To her dismay, the clone troopers raised their blaster rifles and opened fire without a moment's hesitation. Reacting swiftly, Stas Ali deflected the incoming blaster beams with her lightsaber, retreating towards the safety of the command center. "It's a mutiny. Set your weapons to stun mode and block them," she commanded. "Understood." The regular soldiers around her, who had harbored resentment towards the clones, quickly adjusted their blasters to a non-lethal setting and took cover, returning fire at the clone troopers. A fierce exchange ensued. Meanwhile, an officer among the regular soldiers examined a command received on his communicator with confusion. "Execute Order Number 66. "What is Order 66? He wondered, only to receive a more explicit directive moments later. "Per Order 66, all Jedi Knights are to be executed on sight." The order, verified by a code from the Supreme Strategic Command of the Galactic Republic, left no room for doubt. The Republic had turned against the Jedi Order. The officer glanced at Stas Ali, who was valiantly fighting off the clone soldiers at the entrance of the command center, and hesitated. The Jedi had been guardians of the galaxy for millennia, wielding the mysterious force with strength and wisdom. Could he really bring himself to order the death of such beings? Just then, Stas Ali turned and shouted, "Commander, we need reinforcements immediately. There's something wrong with these clones. We must subdue them at once." Instead of complying, the officer made a chilling decision. "Cease fire on the clones. Target the Jedi," he ordered. Stas Ali's heart sank as she realized the grim reality. The Galactic Republic had betrayed the Jedi. While the regular soldiers hesitated, confused by the sudden shift in orders, she unleashed a powerful force push, knocking them to the ground. She then made her escape through a hastily created opening. As the details of Order 66 spread through the ranks, even those soldiers who were bewildered by the command felt compelled to obey the directives from the Supreme Strategic Command. In an instant, the Republic army in the area had become the sworn enemy of the Jedi Knights. Concealed in the shadows, Stas Ali watched in horror as the few Jedi who had accompanied her to the battlefield were mercilessly cut down by the Republic soldiers. The Republic had turned on those who had served as its protectors, marking the beginning of the end for the Jedi Order. Stas Ali was engulfed in despair and unwillingness. The Jedi Knights, protectors of the Galactic Republic for millennia, had time and again saved the Republic and the galaxy at large from peril. Yet, what they received in return was a merciless barrage of blaster fire. It wasn't just the clone soldiers, even the regular troops were against them. What has become of this galaxy? Stas Ali wept, not just for the injustice and tragedy she witnessed, but also for the fallen Jedi Knights. Their agonizing screams and the surge of negative emotions reverberated through the Force, amplifying her grief. She sensed similar atrocities unfolding across the galaxy, an all-out massacre. In a shocking move, Chancellor Palpatine, the Speaker of the Galactic Republic, issued Order 66, branding the Jedi Knights as traitors and commanding all forces to execute them on sight, bypassing any form of trial. This decree sent shockwaves through the Republic Congress, which was caught off guard. Palpatine had bypassed the Council entirely, issuing his directive without the semblance of due process. The Congress was still in the midst of preparing for discussions and votes concerning the future of the Jedi Order. Although the outcome seemed predetermined, the absence of formal proceedings was alarming. Upon hearing the news, Padme Amidala was overcome with dizziness and collapsed onto her sofa. Her maid rushed to her aid, reviving her from her faint. When Padme regained consciousness, she found herself surrounded by fellow senators who shared her political views, including Bail Organa. "The Jedi Order! How could Palpatine do this?" Padme exclaimed, clutching her head in distress. The Jedi have been the guardians of the Republic. They are innocent. Palpatine's accusations lack any concrete evidence. This requires investigation, yet he proceeded without it. It's clear he's eager to consolidate his power. Bail Organa spoke with grave concern. No, Anakin, he. In a panic, Padme reached for her communicator, desperate to contact her lover, fearing for his fate amidst the chaos. Vol 2, Chapter 1493, The End of the Jedi Order, Part 2. The sound of the communicator beeped, and Anakin Skywalker took it out, only to see the pre-recorded holographic avatar of Padme Amidala displayed on its screen. With a mix of emotions, he crushed the communicator in his hand. Turning slightly, he looked behind him to see an army whose size was almost beyond comprehension. Dressed in full-coverage helmets and white polymer alloy armor, each soldier was armed with an upgraded DC-15 LE blaster rifle. Standing silently in formation were 100,000 clone troops. Accompanying them were numerous armored units, including ATE tactical assault walkers, TX-130 Sabre suspension tanks, AV-7 self-propelled artillery, and Zephyr G suspension motorcycles, all arrayed in battle readiness. Dominating the scene in front of this vast army was a colossal trapezoidal building, crowned with 5 majestic towers. This was the Jedi Temple, a symbol of the Galactic Republic that had stood on Coruscant for over 25,000 years, becoming a sacred place in the hearts of many. But now, it was on the brink of being consumed by blood and flames. Anakin Skywalker gazed up at the overcast clouds above Coruscant, the gloomy weather mirroring the impending tragedy. Order No. 66 was not just a directive for mass arrest, as Palpatine had suggested, but an extermination order aimed at annihilating the Jedi Order. Anakin had thought he would be enraged, feeling betrayed by Palpatine's deception. Yet, as the events unfolded and his orders led to the slaughter of thousands of Jedi Knights, he found himself eerily calm. Watching the horrific scenes unfold on the holographic screen, a disturbing sense of joy crept into his heart. Jedi Knights were mercilessly executed, most shot from behind by those they once considered allies. The Force's foresight failed to alert them, leaving them vulnerable to the ambush. The deaths of so many Jedi Knights sent ripples of darkness and negative emotions throughout the galaxy, corrupting the very essence of the Force. As Anakin watched, it felt as though the screams and pleas of the fallen Jedi were happening right before him. He reached out, expecting to touch nothing but air, yet the images seemed to respond, with ghostly hands reaching out towards him. These hands belonged to the mutilated and bloodied Jedi Knights, their negative emotions engulfing him in darkness. Pain, anger, fear, these were the true faces of the Force. It had once made him believe in his power to save everyone. But who had he truly saved? Padme Amidala, lost in her illusions of peace? Ahsoka Tano, who left the Jedi Order in anger? Obi-Wan Kenobi, whose fate remained uncertain? His efforts against the Geth, his injured friend Jax Pavan, or Procon, who faced a Sith Lord and perished? The realization hit him hard. No one could be saved. Not even Padme Amidala's angelic smile could be preserved in the face of such overwhelming darkness. Long unseen on Tatooine, and my own mother, transformed into a walking dead by Darth Malthel, deceived into believing in resurrection. Who have I saved? The Force, it's said to make you stronger, but this power is merely an illusion, a castle built on air. It once offered hope, but ultimately it played a cruel joke, juxtaposed with the harsh reality. This is the Force, bringing only sorrow, separation, death, and pain. I curse the Force. Anakin Skywalker's eyes blazed with intensity and rage. The Jedi Order has made me a slave to the Force, fearing my potential and keeping me from its true essence. They aim to let the Force control me, to let them control me. But now, look at this devastation, this endless darkness. Each Jedi's death only darkens the Force further, and this dark power has made me even stronger. I am the chosen one. I should not be a servant of the Force, nor a tool of the Jedi Order. I should be the one in control, including over the Force itself, commanding it at my will. Only then will I be free from suffering and loss. The Jedi Order is paying the price for their rigidity and corruption. Once powerful and transcendent, they define the galaxy's ecology with their rules, dating back over 20,000 years. Yet, they've failed to adapt to the current era. As social conflicts intensify and the Galactic Republic's regime falters, Their steadfastness has become irrelevant. They are outdated. In this war, the Jedi Knight's principles have been compromised repeatedly. They've attempted to find relevance in this era, but their creed has only become more flawed and diluted. The power that the Jedi Order holds, even surpassing that of the Republic, has become a perverse tool for wrongdoing. Power should belong to those with the wisdom and determination to wield it wisely, not to the decaying Jedi Order, lost and uncertain of the future, nor to the quarrelsome parliaments lacking effective solutions. Palpatine, however, has demonstrated his wisdom and capability, from rebuilding the army and preparing for war, to streamlining the bureaucracy and launching an epic war effort. The future of the Galactic Republic should be entrusted to him, and I will control the Force, harnessing that immense power to bring true balance to the galaxy. Anakin Skywalker slowly donned the hood of his cloak. Beneath the shadow of the hood, his eyes glowed with the golden light unique to the dark side of the Force, fierce and terrifying. "Target the Jedi Temple. Advance," Anakin commanded. The hum of his blue lightsaber activating filled the air, its blade flickering with a struggle of blood red. He marched towards the Jedi Temple, with countless clone soldiers following in precise formation. Armored vehicles aimed at the temple, shells loaded, lasers charged, ready to fire. The steep and lengthy stairs leading to the temple could not deter the clone troopers. Their synchronized steps echoed, as if moved by a single will. The target lay just ahead. This chapter does not exist. Sadly, let's proceed to the next chapter. Vol 2, Chapter 1495, Secret Gathering of Treason. The ambitions of Palpatine were no longer hidden. He had bypassed the Parliament to confront the Jedi Order, blatantly disregarding the legislative body's restrictions. Padme Amidala was deeply troubled, not only by Palpatine's audacity, but also by the uncertainty of Anakin Skywalker's involvement in these events. "Our loyalty to the Republic seems to be veering off course," Bail Organa voiced in a grave tone. "Perhaps we've been pledging our allegiance to the wrong cause." He paused, reflecting on their long-standing battle against tyranny and their championing of democracy. It's disheartening to realize that the Republic has transformed into the very monster it once vowed to defeat. "We must find a way to halt their advances," declared Barna Brimmer, another member of Parliament from the planet Huarine. Huarine, located in the Humbalan sector, was a crucial industrial hub in the Republic's core territories. However, its proximity to the Trade Federation's strongholds had made it a target during the conflict, leading to brief occupations. Despite being maligned by political adversaries as a separatist sympathizer, Brimmer remained a staunch supporter of the Galactic Republic. But how do we proceed? Palpatine has cleverly justified his actions against the Jedi Order, claiming self-defense against an assassination attempt by Master Yoda, Mon Mothma pointed out. Bail Organa glanced at Padme Amidala, who appeared frail and distressed on the sofa. "Our current situation is dire, and opposing Palpatine directly is not feasible. Our immediate focus should be on saving the Jedi Order. We need to challenge the validity of Palpatine's accusations and call for a thorough re-examination. This might afford the Jedi some respite." Bana Brimmer interjected with a cautionary tone. "We're treading a dangerous path. Have you considered that our actions might be construed as treason?" Mon Mothma was visibly shocked. "Treason for defending the Jedi Order?" "It's more than that," Brimmer continued gravely. "If we persist in our opposition, standing against Palpatine could be deemed as treason against the Galactic Republic itself." "How could that be?" exclaimed Mon Mothma. Bail Organa affirmed, "Bana is correct. As Palpatine's influence expands, he's positioning himself as synonymous with the Republic. To oppose him is to oppose the Republic. We risk being branded as traitors." Mon Mothma's complexion paled at the thought. "If we're labeled traitors, the repercussions for the sectors we represent would be severe. We'd face charges of treason and sanctions from the Republic." "Unfortunately, that's the grim reality," sighed Bail Organa. "We may have no choice but to capitulate when that day arrives." However, Mon Mothma's resolve only hardened. Gazing out at the dimming sky, she declared, "If that's the case, we must act before it's too late." She rose determinedly. "Let's request an administrative review of the incident involving the Jedi Order." Bana Brimmer added, Given that Palpatine executed Order 66 under the guise of an emergency decree, our request for a review is not only justified, but necessary. It's a step towards uncovering the truth and potentially saving the Jedi Order. In the midst of their legal discussions, Palpatine's ability to wield the power of emergency rule as a means to proceed was undeniable. They recognized that under the current circumstances of war, this power made him seemingly invincible. However, amidst the strategizing, a frail yet determined voice cut through the tension, offering a glimmer of hope. It was Padme Amidala who spoke up. After a brief rest, her political acumen shone brightly once more. "What's happening?" Mon Mothma inquired, her youth betraying her lack of experience with such intricate political matters. Padme, though weak in voice, was resolute in her explanation. Palpatine has cleverly linked the initiation of Order 66 with his emergency ruling powers, leading us to believe he could enact Order 66 directly under these powers. However, that's a misconception. The emergency ruling powers only allow him to propose the motion to initiate Order 66, not to implement it directly. Her insight struck a chord, especially with Bail Organa, whose realization was palpable. That's correct. Even if Palpatine used his emergency powers to target the Jedi Order, Order 66 would still need the joint approval of the Republic's Supreme Court and the Parliament. But he bypassed these steps entirely and launched Order 66 unilaterally. This clearly indicates a procedural violation. Fueled by a sense of urgency, Bail continued, "We must act immediately. Let's gather all available information on the execution of Order 66. We'll draft an impeachment motion to formally charge Palpatine with the illegal initiation of Order 66. I'll start right away. I have contacts in the military who can provide us with the necessary information," Mon Mothma volunteered, understanding the gravity of their undertaking. Bana Brimmer, however, couldn't help but express his concern. "This impeachment sets us on a path of treason," he sighed, acknowledging the risks. "But caution is paramount. I'll handle the Supreme Court and try to sway them." Just then, a message arrived on Padme Amidala's communicator, causing her to visibly pale. She raised her hand, signaling for attention. "The Republic Army, they're besieging the Jedi Temple, and leading them is Anakin Skywalker." The revelation sent shockwaves through the room, as the gravity of the situation and the betrayal of one of their own became painfully clear. Vol 2, Chapter 1496, The Suffering Palpatine. Your Excellency Speaker, here is the preliminary survey of the Parliament members' intentions that you requested, Deputy Speaker of the Galactic Republic, Mas Amedda, said as he respectfully presented a document to Sheev Palpatine. His posture, curled up and deferential, marked a stark contrast to his demeanor when Palpatine first assumed office. Mas Amedda's attitude had shifted from one of ambition to one of subservience. Mas Amedda, once a formidable politician in his own right, had served as deputy speaker for 2 years prior to Palpatine's rise to the position of speaker following the Naboo Star Wars. Initially, he had hoped to leverage his seniority to influence Palpatine, perhaps even to manipulate him. However, Palpatine, with his sophisticated political acumen and strategic brilliance, quickly outmaneuvered Mas Amedda, securing his loyalty through a combination of reward and intimidation. Mas Amedda, now thoroughly cowed by Palpatine, was among the few who knew of Palpatine's dual identity as the Sith Lord. Having witnessed Palpatine's formidable power, either by chance or design, Mas Amedda found himself utterly devoid of any will to resist. Under Palpatine's rule, Mas Amedda flourished, retaining his title as deputy speaker, but wielding significantly more power and resources than before. Palpatine rewarded loyalty generously, and Mas Amedda had a front-row seat to Palpatine's transformation of the Galactic Republic into his personal dominion and the isolation of the Jedi Knights. Palpatine's ruthless political maneuvers filled Mas Amedda with a deep sense of dread. After Palpatine revealed his identity as the Sith Lord, Mas Amedda could barely muster the courage to meet his gaze. He remained bowed, sneaking only the briefest glances at Palpatine, fearful of meeting the Sith Lord's intimidating eyes. Palpatine, however, was engrossed in the survey report, his expression relaxed and amiable, showing no intention of acknowledging Mas Amedda's discomfort. The report detailed the political leanings and opinions on recent events of at least half of the Galactic Parliament's members. Despite Palpatine's outward calm, the findings were not entirely favorable. Contrary to the ease with which he seemed to handle the Jedi Knights, Palpatine faced significant opposition. Over 70% of the Galactic Council members opposed his actions against the Jedi, a potentially devastating blow to his regime. While many were still deterred by Palpatine's power from taking action, others, led by figures such as Padme Amidala and Bail Organa, were actively organizing resistance. This opposition was precisely what Palpatine feared. Despite his rapid ascent, his political foundation was relatively weak compared to the ancient aristocratic families of the Inner Ring and Core Worlds. Had his master, Darth Plagueis, still been alive, their combined influence, particularly with Plagueis's standing in the Interstellar Banking Association, would have solidified Palpatine's political capital much more swiftly, improving the translation and enhancing the narrative quality of the provided text. Palpatine was on the brink of action, but he faced a critical dilemma. The mutual dependency between him and Darth Plagueis was a double-edged sword. If he didn't eliminate Plagueis, he risked being forced to share power, an outcome Palpatine found utterly unacceptable. This precarious balance of mutual use meant that any conflict of interest could quickly escalate into betrayal. Despite being aware of the conspiracies brewing against him by figures like Bail Organa and Padme Amidala, Palpatine couldn't afford to confront them directly. His eventual rise to Emperor of the Galactic Empire and the construction of the Death Star marked a turning point, allowing him to obliterate Alderaan and eliminate Bail Organa, a persistent thorn in his side. This act underscored the deep-rooted influence and resilience of the core and inner ring planets within the galaxy. Their power didn't stem solely from military might, but from extensive resources and connections. A direct assault on one could provoke a widespread backlash, with even minor acts of defiance like tax evasion posing significant challenges to Palpatine's rule. Palpatine's ascent to the position of Speaker was itself a testament to the support he garnered from the galaxy's elite. However, a document presented to him by Mas Amedda sparked fury within him. The timing was disastrously premature. His grip on the council was incomplete, with several factions yet to be subdued. Yet, he found himself compelled to dismantle the Jedi Order, deploying an astonishing force of 100,000 troops to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, the heart of the Galactic Republic. This brazen mobilization of troops in such a critical location was a direct affront to the Republic's nobility and wealthy families, for whom security and the pursuit of immortality were paramount. But Palpatine had no choice. The Jedi Order had obtained damning evidence that could expose his collusion with Count Dooku to incite a civil war within the galaxy. He could not allow the investigation to proceed along those lines. For the latest updates on Star Wars: The Fourth Calamity, please visit the Beiji Chinese website or download the Haoyue Novels app. This chapter does not exist. Sad, let's proceed to the next chapter. This chapter does not exist, sadly. Let's proceed to the next chapter. Vol 2, Chapter 1499, The End of the Jedi Order 4. Governor Tang Xiao sat in his office, calmly sipping tea when Qi Jian, the chief of staff of the Fourth Civilization, burst in with urgent news. Governor, according to the detection reports from the outposts on the front line, the army of the Galactic Republic has halted its advance on almost all fronts simultaneously. Without a hint of surprise, Tang Xiao responded with a steady voice, Order Number 66. Qi Jian, momentarily taken aback, asked for clarification. Tang Xiao, setting his teacup aside, elaborated, Immediately notify the Supreme Combat Command, the General Staff, and the Intelligence Department. Also, inform Ling Liang, the governor of Sesvena, and Graham, the governor of Harvin, to draft a battle plan by the end of the day. Qi Jian's expression turned serious as he sought further instructions. Where is the target of the battle? The target is the assembly point of the Galactic Republic fleet around our controlled area. Launch a swift and intense raid. The goal is to deliver a crippling blow and retreat quickly, Tang Xiao instructed, emphasizing the operation's objective to weaken the Republic fleet and alleviate their pressure. I won't attend the meeting. Draft the conclusions, get approval from the highest combat command, and proceed with implementation immediately. Qi Jian saluted, his posture as rigid and respectful as when he first met the then young and unfamiliar manager over a decade ago. Tang Xiao nodded in approval, revealing, "The Galactic Republic must have issued Order 66 by now. This order brands the Jedi Knights as traitors and mandates their execution. With the Jedi Knights being targeted, the Republic's armies are in disarray without their leadership. We will spare no effort in devising a flawless battle plan to severely damage the Galactic Republic fleet in one fell swoop," Qijian declared with determination. After dismissing Qijian, Tang Xiao retreated to a room behind his office and donned a black cloak. Alone, he mused, Order 66 being launched a year earlier than expected. How delightful, Darth Sidious. Darth Masayan, as he was known in the shadows, couldn't help but sneer. The premature execution of Order 66, a scheme he had meticulously planted, was now wreaking havoc, much to his delight. He imagined Darth Sidious, his adversary, struggling to contain the chaos unleashed within the Galactic Council. This moment was reminiscent of the downfall of his own master, Darth Plagueis, during the Battle of Naboo. Now Darth Masayan, wielding Order 66 as his weapon, aimed to exploit Palpatine's vulnerability just as he had done to his master. Despite the changes his arrival with the Mothership had brought to the Star Wars galaxy, some events, like Order 66, remained inevitable. For Darth Masayan, the activation of Order 66 was a strategic advantage, one he had no intention of preventing. The ensuing political turmoil within the Galactic Republic presented an opportunity for the Fourth Civilization to capitalize on the chaos. Moreover, Order 66 served as a means to eliminate the Jedi Knights, who posed a significant threat to Darth Masayan. By directing the Jedi Order's animosity towards Darth Sidious, he relished in the irony of his maneuver. The situation was akin to historical moments when adversaries found their plans inadvertently aiding one another, creating a complex web of intrigue and strategy. Seizing this opportunity, Darth Masayan was determined to make the most of the chaos, viewing it as a step towards completing one of his dark rituals on Korriban. Darth Masayan made his way to his custom-built spacecraft, the Red Comet, and as he ignited its engines, he initiated a holographic communication with his wife, Adele Ulan. Her image flickered into view, her beauty marred only by her expression of mild indifference. "Governor, Your Excellency, what do you require of me?" she inquired. "You should address me as your husband." Darth Masayan corrected gently. Adele Ulan blinked in surprise, momentary, lie lost for words. "What? Oh, of course," she stammered, quickly regaining her composure. "Very well, my husband," she replied, her tone now infused with a touch of warmth as she executed a graceful salute. Darth Masayan nodded, satisfied. The Galactic Republic is on the brink of monumental upheaval, both politically and militarily. Rendili must be prepared for what's to come. Relocate the docks, move the residents to safety, and fortify our defenses. I will instruct Governor Newt Gunley of the Trade Union to provide you with full support. You have a degree of latitude in your actions. The Republic is too preoccupied to concern itself with us for the time being. A flicker of disappointment crossed Adele Ulan's face, quickly replaced by a dawning realization of the gravity of her husband's words. She understood the significance of this moment. It was not just a directive, but an opportunity. An opportunity to wield greater power. I am not merely a decorative piece, she thought to herself. I will rise to become a queen, second only to one, yet above thousands within the Fourth Civilization. Meanwhile, at the heart of the Galactic Republic, the Jedi Temple on Coruscant was under siege. The once peaceful sanctuary was now a battlefield, swarmed by clone soldiers attacking from all directions. Spaceships circled overhead, their hatches open as elite snipers and gunners prepared their weapons, laying down a barrage of fire upon the temple. Despite the overwhelming force assembled outside, including ATTE tactical assault walkers, the orders were clear: preserve the temple to the greatest extent possible. The real assault was carried out by the clone soldiers on the ground, who charged into the temple, engaging the Jedi Knights in close combat. The Jedi, wielding their lightsabers, deflected the incoming blaster fire with precise and rapid movements. A skilled Jedi Knight could deflect up to 30 shots per second, rendering long-range attacks almost futile. Yet, the clone soldiers pressed on, engaging the Jedi in brutal combat. The Jedi Knights, faced with the invasion of their sacred space, fought back with unrestrained ferocity. They cut down the attacking clone soldiers, defending the temple with every ounce of their strength. The ground around the temple soon became littered with the bodies of fallen soldiers. Within the temple, over 3,000 Jedi Knights remained, a number far exceeding those typically seen on any battlefield. However, the strength of these Jedi varied greatly. Among them were scholars, researchers, and diplomats, not all accustomed to the brutal realities of war. Yet, in this moment of crisis, each Jedi stood ready to defend the temple, their home, against the onslaught. In the shadow of the Jedi Temple, where the echoes of countless battles resonate, a confrontation of unparalleled intensity unfolded. Anakin Skywalker and Shaak Ti, two figures of formidable prowess, engaged in a duel so rapid that their movements blurred into a cascade of blue light, their lightsabers weaving an impenetrable curtain of energy around them. The entrance to the Jedi Temple, a place marked by the grandeur of 4 towering reliefs depicting the revered founders of the Jedi Order, became the unlikely stage for this fierce battle. These sculptures, each over 10 meters wide and reaching towards the heavens, stood as a testament to the Jedi Creed, yet now bore silent witness to the desecration brought by the conflict. Anakin, driven by a fervor that bordered on madness, his eyes alight with a golden hue, fought with a ferocity that seemed to amplify with each passing moment. His heart thundered in his chest, a wild drumbeat fueling his conviction that only through dominance and destruction could he safeguard all he cherished. The dark side of the Force coursed through him, its power invigorating him, promising strength beyond measure. Die! All of you should die! Anakin's voice, thick with rage, cut through the air as his lightsaber's pace intensified, becoming a whirlwind of energy that Shaak Ti struggled to counter. Terror, you have betrayed everything, everyone who loved you, everyone who cared for you. You've turned your back on them all. You've become nothing but a madman. Shaak Ti's retort was fierce, her own lightsaber moving in desperate defense against Anakin's relentless assault. No, this is the true path. The Jedi Order, after 25,000 years, has lost its way. You've become relics, hoarding your power, forgetting its true purpose. Anakin's eyes blazed with insanity, his lightsaber movements accelerating, drawing upon the dark side to unleash a barrage of attacks that Shaak Ti found increasingly difficult to withstand. Each strike from Anakin's weapon seemed to carry an unbearable weight, the dark energy it wielded causing Shaak Ti immense pain. The very air around them seemed to thicken, stifling her movements, her breaths. And then with a sudden thrust, Anakin aimed a decisive blow. Anticipating the attack, Shaak Ti managed to parry, but the force behind Anakin's strike overwhelmed her defenses. The blue blade grazed her shoulder, a near miss that sent her reeling back in shock and fear. Broken point. When did you master that technique? She gasped. The broken point, a skill known only to a select few Jedi of exceptional strength and talent, allowed its practitioner to perceive the very essence of an object or being. By targeting and shattering this core, one could inflict catastrophic damage. Anakin's mastery of such a technique marked a terrifying escalation in his power, a testament to his descent into the depths of the dark side. Among the Jedi Order, the last person capable of mastering the breaking point technique was Master Windu. My power far exceeds your imagination. That's why you fear me. That's why you are wary of me. That's why you ostracize me. Anakin Skywalker declared, his expression darkening. He raised his lightsaber, adopting the fifth sword technique's aggressive stance, Sean. His face twisted with emotion. But yes, you should fear me. You have every reason to. As his words echoed, his blade merged with his resolve, slashing down with terrifying force. Master Shaak Ti, already injured in one shoulder and forced to wield her lightsaber with her remaining hand, found her strength waning. At this moment, Anakin's killing intent, fueled by hatred, reached its zenith. With a hum, Master Shaak Ti's lightsaber was knocked aside, and in the next instant, Anakin's blade pierced her chest. A white light flickered, and a bright red spaceship emerged from the hyperspace channel into the vastness of space. The spaceship then activated its cloaking device, vanishing as if it had never been there. Darth Messian piloted the vessel, steering it towards the beautiful blue planet ahead. This sapphire-like planet, adorned with white clouds and air currents that danced around it like ribbons, was breathtakingly beautiful. The planet Naboo, a shining gem on the edge of the galaxy's middle ring. For the latest updates on Star Wars The Fourth Scourge, Chapter 1499, The End of the Jedi Order 4, please visit the official website. Vol 2, Chapter 1500, Anakin's Mother, Part 1. Darth Messiah expertly maneuvered the Red Comet into a secluded valley on the planet, activating its cloaking device to render the spaceship invisible. He then mounted a hoverbike, accelerating to speeds exceeding 500 kilometers per hour. Guided by a faint connection to the dark side of the Force, Darth Messiah made no detours, heading straight for a seemingly unremarkable manor. This farm, while appearing modest, was heavily fortified with numerous detectors and guards. Several automated machines were visible, sorting through the crops with precision. Naboo, blessed with a favorable climate and sparse population, was abundant in naturally growing crops. Were it not for the presence of plasma mines, Naboo could have been a prime agricultural planet. However, these very mines endowed Naboo with significant economic prosperity. Consequently, it attracted the attention of various factions, including the Interstellar Banking Association and the Trade Federation, all of whom coveted the planet's rich plasma resources but ultimately failed to seize control. Following the outbreak of war, the Galactic Republic fortified Naboo due to its valuable plasma mines and significant political importance. Notably, both Speaker Schiff Palpatine and the highly esteemed Senator Padme Amidala hailed from Naboo, with the planet playing a pivotal role in Palpatine's rise to power. The Naboo Star Wars were heralded by Palpatine's supporters as the Galactic Republic's glorious inception. Moreover, the hyperspace routes surrounding Naboo were unsuitable for large fleet operations, effectively isolating the planet from the Outer Rim. This strategic position deterred the Confederation of Independent Galaxies, as any attempt to seize the planet risked more loss than gain. However, the capture of Eliadu by the Fourth Civilization and the subsequent fall of Marathon significantly worsened Naboo's strategic situation, prompting the Galactic Republic to bolster defenses around Naboo and assemble a fleet on Kira, a crucial transportation hub in the galaxy's southern inner ring. As Darth Messiah approached the manor, he effortlessly neutralized several hidden scout posts with a mere gesture, their occupants reduced to desiccated corpses. Under his command, surveillance cameras and drones were obliterated by unseen forces. Dismounting from his hoverbike in front of a simple yet elegant house, Darth Messiah's presence marked the beginning of a significant event, his intentions shrouded in mystery as he prepared to confront what lay within. Darth Messiah entered the dimly lit room, where an elderly woman with a pallid complexion sat motionless in a wheelchair. She appeared almost lifeless, save for her faint heartbeat and shallow breathing. Beside her, a brass-colored protocol robot caught sight of Darth Messiah and exclaimed in a panic, "Oh my goodness, what brings you here in the bright light of noon?" The robot clumsily attempted to flee. Ignoring the robot, Darth Messiah's attention was diverted by a blaster aimed at his head from behind. The wielder was a muscular, bald man with the red glow of electronic eyes betraying his true nature, a T-850 robot named Rock Johnson, reminiscent of the protocol robot C-3PO, who had grown up alongside Anakin Skywalker. Unperturbed by the blaster, Darth Messiah inquired nonchalantly, "Anakin Skywalker, how often does he visit?" "Unless he's away on prolonged battles, he comes once a month," Rock Johnson replied. Darth Messiah mused, "That's both a blessing and a curse." He approached the old woman, squatting beside her. Shmi Skywalker, Anakin's mother, she remains the deepest bond in his heart. As Rock Johnson raised his hand to shoot, he suddenly found his arm immobilized. Despite the immense force generated by his hydraulic arm, it refused to budge. His arm then began to contort, twisting grotesquely until it was completely useless. Rock Johnson, expressionless, examined his damaged mechanical arm, then attempted to strike with his other hand, only to find his entire body frozen in place by an unseen force. Meanwhile, the protocol robot, C-3PO, was in a state of panic, exclaiming, "My God, this is dreadful!" Its attempts to send a distress signal were cut short as its communication antenna snapped. Darth Messiah paid no mind to the robots, focusing instead on Shmi Skywalker. He gently placed his hand on her forehead, channeling the force of life into her. Before their eyes, Shmi Skywalker's condition visibly improved. The sallowness of her skin receded, replaced by a healthy glow, and the medical equipment attached to her wheelchair registered an increase in her vital signs. Her soul is fragmented, Darth Masainer murmured to himself. There are only two solutions, to fill the void with a random soul or to retrieve her own. But her soul has likely joined the cosmic force, akin to what is known as the underworld in other beliefs. Shmi Skywalker, lost in memories from over a decade ago, murmured, "Little Annie, don't scavenge the junkyard tomorrow. Uncle Ham gave us a loaf of bread." Darth Masainer's expression darkened. "Yet your existence is a hindrance to Anakin." This narrative unfolds in the Star Wars universe, specifically focusing on Chapter 1500, titled Anakin's Mother, Part 1. For those eager to follow this saga, updates are available through the Haoyue Novels app, offering the latest chapters for avid readers. Chapter 1501, Anakin's Mother, Part 2. Annie, Annie, Annie. A faint voice echoed around. It was weak and sorrowful, yet filled with warmth. Annie, Annie. As the voice continued, a figure gradually emerged. She was dressed in ragged clothes, tall but very thin. Though she appeared to be over 60 years old, she was actually only in her 50s. She seemed to be wandering in endless darkness, unable to find her way. In desperation, she kept calling for her son. "Annie, Annie, where are you? Annie, Mom." Anakin Skywalker suddenly opened his eyes and found himself lying in his bedroom. After completing his tasks, he had returned to his dormitory in a daze. Feeling inexplicably tired, he had leaned on the bed and fallen asleep. After a moment of contemplation, he stood up from the bed, opened the door, and walked out. Outside, he saw several clone soldiers carrying the corpses of Jedi Knights. In the distance, bodies were scattered everywhere. Most were clone troopers, but many were Jedi Knights. Looking closely, he recognized many of the fallen. Some had spoken to him just days ago. This was the Jedi Temple, the occupied Jedi Temple. The once magnificent and solemn holy place was now in ruins. The interior was severely damaged, and flames still burned in several places. Firefighting robots sprayed water and insulation foam, but these efforts only made the temple more chaotic. Suddenly, there was a thud nearby. A clone soldier carrying a corpse had dropped the head of a dead Jedi Knight. The soldier tilted his head to look at the corpse and suddenly became furious. "What is this smell? What is this smell? Why does your scorched body smell so bad? Ah!" Without warning, he pulled out his blaster rifle and fired at the corpse. Anakin stared coldly, raised his hand, and used the Force to knock the soldier away. The soldier hit the solid wall with a thud, and the sound of bones breaking echoed. The clone soldier fell limply to the ground, already dead. Ignoring the clone soldiers, whose mental states were extremely unstable due to accelerated growth, Anakin Skywalker quickly walked out of the Jedi Temple and boarded a shuttle. Sitting in the driver's seat, he was restless, his mind filled with his mother's call. He entered the coordinates of the planet Naboo on the dashboard, his fingers trembling so much that he almost pressed the wrong button. The shuttle flew to the planet Kira, where several huge spaceports had been newly built. Dozens of Hunter-class battlecruisers were parked there, along with hundreds of other ships and transport vessels. The shuttle was busy everywhere. Several V-19 Torrent light fighters flew over. "This is a military-restricted area. Please show your identification code." "Get out!" Anakin Skywalker growled deep in his throat. "Follow orders." The V-19s turned around and left, their scanning systems having recognized the high-level clearance of the shuttle. After the second round of charging, the shuttle started the hyperspace engine again and disappeared into the universe with a burst of white light. On the planet Naboo, a shuttle flew directly into the atmosphere, heading straight for a target manor. Before it could stop, the hatch opened, and Anakin Skywalker, wearing a black cloak, jumped out and ran towards the gate of the house. However, as soon as he stepped into the gate, his steps froze instantly. "Annie, is that you? Why have you grown so big?" An extremely familiar voice called out. "Mom, you." Anakin Skywalker subconsciously wanted to respond. Anakin Skywalker felt an overwhelming urge to rush up and hug his mother, but he restrained the strong emotion in his heart. Instead, he turned his head and roared in one direction. "Darth Malthael, get out here!" A sinister laugh echoed through the room as the figure of Darth Malthael appeared on the other side. Beside him were two robots, reduced to only their upper bodies. "Sorry, my master. My arms are not flexible enough to crawl with both hands," C-3PO said, a lie, on the ground. "What did you do to my mother?" Anakin Skywalker exclaimed. "As you can see, I resurrected her," Darth Malthael replied with a smile. "You call this a resurrection?" Anakin yelled, pointing at Shmi Skywalker. Her complexion had improved significantly, and she clearly recognized the now-grown Anakin, but her eyes remained dull and lifeless. "Isn't it?" Darth Malthael opened his hands. "My understanding of life has improved, so your mother is getting closer and closer to a true resurrection." "Understanding of life? It's the understanding of death," Anakin shouted. "You've always been lying to me. You've turned my mother into a walking dead." "Is she a walking dead? Judge for yourself," Darth Malthael sneered. He raised his hand and made a casual gesture, and Shmi Skywalker mimicked the same gesture. "Stop!" Anakin Skywalker ignited his lightsaber with a swish. "I won't allow you to continue playing with my mother like this." "And what will you do?" "I gave you a choice, Anakin," Darth Malthael said with a sneer. "Now is the time. Come with me. Become my apprentice, and I will teach you everything about life and death. With the power to control life and death, you will be able to resurrect your mother with your own hands." "Like the resurrection of Master Adi Gallia and Green Betty, isn't it?" Anakin Skywalker retorted. "Annie, the dead angel is a good man. He resurrected me." Shmi Skywalker said blankly, "I told you to stop!" Anakin Skywalker yelled hysterically, pouring all his strength into his voice. In an instant, he appeared in front of Darth Malthael, stabbing directly with his blue lightsaber. However, his furious strike was blocked by an invisible barrier. "Open your eyes and take a look, or better yet, use the Force," Darth Malthael mocked. "Isn't your mother standing in front of you alive?" "She's dead!" Anakin yelled frantically, slashing at Darth Malthael with sword after sword. Thanks to Time697 for rewarding 588 reading coins. Chapter 1502, Your Name is Darth Vader, Part 1. Facing Anakin Skywalker's frenzied attack, Darth Malthael remained unfazed. The current Chosen One was still far from his prime, merely a relatively strong Jedi Master at best. Darth Malthael effortlessly dodged all of Anakin's strikes with light steps and erected a force barrier to prevent him from getting too close. Mockingly, he addressed the furious Anakin. "What do you think you are now, Anakin Skywalker? You are neither dark nor light, neither loyal nor rebellious, neither filial nor unfeeling. As a Jedi, loyal, filial, wise, and faithful, what have you achieved? None of these." He looked at Anakin with pity. "But even if you are bad, you are not bad enough. You are such a person, wandering and lost all your life. You have the potential to be the most powerful man in the galaxy. You are the Chosen One, the child of the Force, but in essence, your heart and soul are still just mortal. My business, don't worry about it. Let go of my mother. Otherwise. Anakin Skywalker was furious, the dark side of the Force around him growing stronger and more visible. Stripes of black Force energy condensed into streaks of black lightning, flickering around him. Even just standing there, his powerful presence made the whole house tremble. Seeing his appearance, Darth Malthael sneered coldly. "Yes, there is some meaning in this, but it's far from enough. You are really too weak, so weak that you aren't even qualified to be a pawn. Little Annie, you are too weak. You are so weak that you can't even protect your own mother." Shmi Skywalker, standing aside, echoed dully. "Enough! Enough! Enough!" Anakin Skywalker roared. "Why me? Why me? Why me?" Family affection and cruelty, conscience and darkness, reason and madness, countless contradictory emotions collided within him, almost driving him insane, especially after realizing he was no match for Darth Malthael, and his mother was under Malthael's control. His heart was on the verge of collapse. He longed for power, for strength, for control over his own destiny. For this, he did not hesitate to fall into the dark side and destroy the entire Jedi Order. But now, he found himself still so powerless. "What kind of person do you think you are, Anakin?" Darth Malthael said slowly. "You think you can save everyone, you think you can do anything, but in fact, the more you want to achieve everything, the more you will lose everything. If you want to gain anything, you must first experience loss." "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you." Anakin Skywalker muttered, the dark side force around him growing stronger. That's right, Darth Malthael said. You have seen my power, and unlike Darth Sidious, who is full of lies, I have indeed made some achievements on the path to eternal life. Your mother is gradually being resurrected, which is clear evidence. Of course, there are side effects. Those resurrected by me will become my slaves. A cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth under the hood. You just turned her into a walking dead, you liar. Anakin Skywalker muttered, lowering his head. I think this is what Darth Sidious told you, but let me remind you, what is a walking dead? If this concept is generalized, then all beings resurrected from a corpse state are walking dead. That's right, because back then on Tatooine, your mother died, and I, indeed, resurrected her from the state of a corpse. Therefore, the so-called walking dead and the so-called resurrection are actually the same thing, Darth Malthael explained. Are you thinking about using my mother to blackmail me? Anakin Skywalker murmured. Lowering his head, Anakin Skywalker muttered, even in death, you refuse to let her go. You let her exist in this distorted form. Is that it? Darth Malthael chuckled. I told you, I have always given you a choice. Now surrender to me. Surrender to death. Surrender to darkness. Together, we will bring the entire galaxy under our control. Surrender to the Lord. He is your true master. Shmi Skywalker's voice echoed from the side. Anakin lowered his head and chuckled. This is your purpose. Ha ha ha. Darth Malthael looked at Anakin with a trace of satisfaction in his eyes. Oh, you have no idea how much power is hidden within you. Right now, you've only tapped into 1,000th, maybe even a 10,000th of your potential. What use are you like this? An ant can never shake a great tree. As he spoke, he drew a twisted, hideous hilt from behind him with a backhanded motion, the soul-seizing sword. 18 pitch-black gemstones glowed ominously on the hilt. Even a mere glance at it could cause one's soul to be swallowed by the powerful Sith spirits within. Buzz! A black plasma blade shot out from one side of the hilt. Darth Malthael held it in one hand, leaving a significant length behind. The posture seemed awkward, but given that the wielder was one of the strongest beings in the galaxy, it instilled fear. He swung his sword and slowly circled Anakin, intentionally pulling away from Shmi Skywalker. No, no, my destiny is mine to control. I will become stronger. I will save everyone. Before that, I will conquer everyone. Anakin muttered to himself. Suddenly, he raised his head and the golden light of the dark side shone in his bloodshot eyes. I am the one who controls everything. No one can stop me. Then give it a try. Darth Malthael grinned wickedly. He brandished the soul-seizing sword and rushed towards Anakin, his posture seemingly full of flaws. Author's note, I didn't want to write such a plot on Mother's Day, but what can I do if the story demands it? It just so happens that this update falls on Mother's Day, and I'm helpless. Chapter 1503, Your Name is Darth Vader, Part 2, I'll kill you. Anakin Skywalker yelled at Darth Malthael, raising his lightsaber once more. Then you go die first. Darth Malthael sneered, thrusting his sword forward. Anakin, don't do this. Shmi Skywalker suddenly seemed to wake up. She ran over to stop the two from fighting. Don't, Anakin, you will die. However, her words stopped abruptly. She looked down in disbelief at the lightsaber piercing her chest. A blue lightsaber. Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. In the blink of an eye, Anakin Skywalker had easily dodged Darth Malthael's attack, and in a swift motion had driven his lightsaber into his mother's chest. I will not succumb to fate. No one can threaten me, Anakin Skywalker said through gritted teeth. He had come to believe that his mother had been turned into a walking dead by Darth Malthael, just like those zombies mutated by the T-virus. Darth Malthael had repeatedly used his mother to blackmail him, a behavior that had already exceeded his bottom line. Allowing his mother to rest in peace, returning dust to dust, and breaking free from Darth Malthael's control to gain complete freedom, this thought gradually took over his heart. Shmi Skywalker's shocked expression gradually softened. She smiled through her tears, gently raised her arms to hug Anakin, and patted his back. You will, Annie. You will. The blue lightsaber deactivated, and with a click, the metal hilt fell to the ground. Anakin Skywalker looked at his mother in shock as Shmi Skywalker's body fell weakly. Anakin subconsciously caught her, tears streaming down his face. Mom, Mom, you, no, you. As his lightsaber pierced Shmi Skywalker's chest, he felt her life force slipping away. However, it was too late. Shmi Skywalker's body gradually lost strength, and Anakin, now limp, couldn't hold her up anymore. He sat down on the ground with a thud, his mother's gradually cold body still in his arms. Shmi Skywalker squeezed out her last smile with all her strength. She raised her hand to touch her son's face, but couldn't reach it. Her hand drooped weakly halfway. Anakin Skywalker grabbed his mother's hand, pressed it firmly against his face, and cried bitterly, "No! Why? Why is this happening? Why is this happening?" Endless anger and unwillingness made him scream to the sky. He didn't notice that Darth Malthael had beckoned without a trace and then pressed something on the hilt of the soul-reaping sword. During that mournful roar, the force around Anakin Skywalker became darker and deeper. His strength grew stronger and stronger. He slowly put down his mother's body, stood up, and turned his back to Darth Malthael. "You did it on purpose, didn't you? Didn't I tell you? I resurrected your mother," Darth Malthael sneered. "You made me take this step on purpose, didn't you?" Anakin Skywalker didn't seem to hear Darth Malthael's words. "I have always given you the right to choose, Anakin." Darth Malthael shook his head. "Do you think I am letting you choose who to worship? No. You think too easily. Then now, I will do what you wish." Anakin Skywalker turned around slowly, raised his hand, and his lightsaber flew into his grasp. Hum! The lightsaber ignited. The blue blade flickered, twisted, and then turned blood red. The majestic force of the dark side surged like a tsunami. Kacha! Wow! The house they were in finally succumbed to the overwhelming force of the dark side and collapsed. However, the countless broken stones and rubble were repelled by an invisible force the moment they fell, leaving the area within a 10-meter radius around the two of them clean, not even a single stone fragment in sight. Anakin Skywalker fell to his knees, his force growing stronger, spreading like a tsunami, a tornado, a powerful wind ready to wreak havoc on everything in its path. It was as if he intended to destroy everything. Almost no one could resist such power. At this moment, he seemed like a demon king standing in the darkness, embodying darkness itself. The remorse and pain of killing his mother with his own hands had driven Anakin Skywalker completely mad, plunging him into utter darkness. An extremely terrifying power erupted from his body, almost purely composed of dark energy. Meanwhile, in the Coruscant Parliament building, within the Speaker's office, Schiff Palpatine was dealing with countless official documents and approvals. He was preparing for the powerful counterattack of the Parliament, a backlash against his brazen launch of Order 66 to destroy the Jedi Order. This counterattack also represented the Galactic Republic's final stand against him. However, at this critical moment, his face suddenly changed. He turned abruptly to look at the starry sky outside the window, his expression becoming ferocious as he began to curse in a low voice. The deputy speaker at the desk, Masameda, couldn't hear what he was saying clearly, only catching a few sentences in the slang of the planet Naboo, all of which were curse words and very ugly. Masameda, being a very sensible person, quickly said, "Let me help you deal with these matters, Mr. Speaker. I will go back first." After finishing speaking, he fled the room, holding his personal terminal. Palpatine continued to curse for a long time. He raised his hand, and a powerful force tore apart everything in the office like an autumn wind sweeping away fallen leaves. Immediately, he connected to a secret communication frequency band and said, "Come with me immediately. Black hole!" At that moment, on the planet Naboo, Darth Malthael began to smile maniacally. Even he had to be on guard, with the soul-seizing sword lying in front of him, and the death force instantly covering the entire space. Even Darth Malthael had to remain vigilant before the Chosen One who had fallen into darkness. "Resurrect my mother, immediately." Anakin Skywalker's voice was dark and terrifying. "Otherwise, I will make you suffer a terrible death." Darth Malthael laughed wildly. "You know, Anakin, before this, I was also making a choice, and my choice is Darth S. Verde. It is better to let him appear. Do you know?" Thanks to Bookfriend, 2021-0521-08421256 for the reward of 1,500 starting coins. Chapter 1504, Your name is Darth Vader, Part 2. Kill! Anakin Skywalker roared as he charged forward, his body almost completely enveloped by the power of darkness. At this moment, he seemed like a demon king emerging from the depths of hell. Darth Malthael's expression grew increasingly excited. He brandished the Black Soul Reaper sword and met Anakin head-on. This time, he held nothing back, and the force of death surged towards Anakin like a raging wave. In an instant, the air was filled with the sounds of ghostly wails and howling winds. It seemed as if countless decayed and dry hands were reaching out from the void, trying to grab Anakin from all directions. The lightsabers of the two combatants clashed fiercely, and their respective forces collided with equal intensity. Darkness and death, like tsunamis and sandstorms, seemed to split the entire sky in two. Anakin Skywalker's power at this moment was astonishing, reaching a terrifying level. The strength gap between the two, which had previously been vast, had now narrowed significantly. Anakin's violent force was now able to stand up to Darth Malthael. "It's you! You took everything from me! It's you! You hurt everything I care about! I hate you! I hate you!" Anakin Skywalker roared, his eyes red with fury. The lightsaber in his hand grew more and more violent with each strike. In this battle, Anakin's strength continued to grow steadily. Even if he was not yet as powerful as Darth Malthael, he was still one of the best among the Jedi Knights. Building on the fourth form of lightsaber combat, Ataru, he had further practiced the fifth form. The fifth form, a combination of the third and fourth forms, is divided into two types: Sheen, which is more defensive, and Gem-So, which is more offensive. Unlike the third form, which defends with offense, and the fourth form, which attacks with defense, the fifth form incorporates more complex sword shapes. Anakin Skywalker was one of the few Jedi Knights who could master this complex sword technique. Despite his sudden surge in power, his swordsmanship remained precise and controlled, reflecting his talent and dedication to his training. The figures of the two combatants moved so quickly that they were almost a blur, and the collision of their forces carried the power to destroy everything in their path. However, Darth Malthael grew more and more excited. "Yes, that's it. Fall into the darkness. Only then can you truly have power. Without power, you are nothing. Only by surrendering to the darkness can you control the situation." Ha! He was thoroughly enjoying the battle. The last time he had felt such exhilaration was during his fight with Master Windu on the planet Harunkar. Darth Malthael excelled at learning through combat. His battles with Count Dooku and Master Windu had deepened his understanding of swordsmanship, and his encounters with Master Yoda and Darth Sidious had revealed new force skills to him. This time, the battle with Anakin Skywalker, the Chosen One who was fighting with all his might, allowed him to glimpse something deeper behind the original force. Darth Malthael continued to use the seventh form of lightsaber combat, Zhuyo, which was the first form he had learned from Darth Plagueis. Now wielding it with his own mastery, its power was no less than that of his former master. For Anakin Skywalker, Darth Malthael had a specific plan. An Anakin who was constantly wavering and hesitant was not what he desired. What he wanted was a decisive, powerful, and ruthless Darth Vader. That's right, you haven't experienced the sorrow of losing everything. How can you become strong? Your fragile heart must be shattered to forge a true warrior. Your heart is your greatest weakness, and now, Darth Malthael grinned malevolently, the terrifying force of death condensing in his hands. Obviously, what you have lost is not enough. Crack! A blood-red lightning bolt exploded instantly. At that moment, the world seemed to turn pale, everything shrouded in boundless darkness, except for bloody lightning. Boom! Anakin Skywalker used his lightsaber to block the lightning that almost no one could resist. But even so, the incredibly powerful force contained in the lightning made him retreat. The blocked lightning formed a blood-red electric light, still exuding destructive power. The powerful force began to erode his body and soul, causing him pain from the inside out. But he still blocked it. However, this was just the beginning. Darth Malthael did not stop. He made a deceptive move, shaking Anakin's sight, and then the black light blade of the Sword of Souls flashed past, severing Anakin Skywalker's arms at the elbows. Anakin, who had lost his arms, could no longer grasp his lightsaber. In the next second, the blood-red lightning struck him directly. Under the attack of the bloody lightning, his body collapsed almost instantly. But the powerful force of the dark side kept him alive, forcing him to endure the terrible pain. He rolled on the ground, but the bloody lightning had wrapped around his entire body like a relentless parasite, and he couldn't escape it. He could only continue to endure the torture. Anakin Skywalker's handsome young face was visibly scorched, and his body gradually shriveled. The scorched clothes and skin stuck together tightly, causing him even more pain. Darth Maul stood coldly, witnessing Anakin being burned by the bloody lightning until he was almost turned into a piece of charred meat. Standing beside Anakin, he said something in a low voice, then turned and left. An old voice let out a long sigh from the gauntlet on Malthael's wrist and said faintly, "You made him lose everything, and you succeeded. But what about you, Lord Sith? What have you lost?" A newly developed Lambda-class shuttle from the Republic descended steadily. The hatch opened, and Darth Sidious, clad in a black robe, emerged. Behind him were two individuals wearing triangular top hats. Although they had different appearances, their clothing styles were surprisingly similar. The speaker's secret advisors, Black Hole. Which of these two was his real body, or if neither of them was, remained unknown. Darth Sidious approached the charred figure on the ground and said lightly, "He's still alive. Take him back."